Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Allison Mancini, your wellness warrior.
And I'm Julietta, the magical PT. And we are so glad that you are joining us today to get more insights and tools for tapping into the inner goddess in you. And this will help support you in achieving all of your goals. This morning, we are joined by Crystal. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, yes. Hello, Goddess World. Thank you both for having me today. I really appreciate being on here. As they said, my name is Crystal Patient, and I am a proud mommy and wife of my little Florida clan here. I am a dance advocate, and I am the artistic decorator of my company, Livin The Design, which focuses on individuals' well-being in their environment. I like to create space that shows the person's personality with comfort, function, form, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yay. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead.
I love your background. You have an amazing windows and wood ceiling. And can I just sit in your room all the time?
Yes.
Beautiful.
You know, I actually, when my daughter used to take naps, I would come in here, and this is where I would do my yoga. And I know we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, this makes me very happy. The warmth and the light, for sure.
Yeah, what a great room to do yoga in. Okay,
yeah,
we'll get there.
Thank you. I teach, when I do dance in here too, when we have to do it virtually, I say, welcome to my channel, and I do one of these things, and I get a little laugh sometimes from the students. But
Awesome. So are we ready to dive into questions?
Yay.
Yes.
So the first question is, what is your superpower, Crystal?
I believe my superpower is the ability to sense people's energy. And in doing so, I can navigate in conversation with them. So if somebody's really high energy, I can maybe mirror that or match it. If there's even a situation between two individuals that maybe needs to be neutralized, I feel that I can really calm the situation with the ability of just knowing, who they are and how they move. I think that people's energy is really important, and it also feeds into what I do in their home. And that's what they say about me, that I'm a really good neutralizer. That's my superpower. I can read people's personalities and handle them well. Kind of like a little chameleon, I adapt where needed.
Nice. Yeah. And I love that you bring up like energy, because like that's the world that I live in is energy. Because we're all just energy, frequency. And when we can realize that, it can be a superpower for everybody to just handle every situation a little bit easier, more fluidly. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you have something, Allison?
I was just going to say, so I worked with Crystal in past lives a while ago. We worked together, and as she's saying this, and I'm like, she was always really good at that. Like even with adults and with children, because the way that I know Crystal is she taught dance. She actually taught my daughter for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I think is about. And she definitely has a way, I love how you put it, of being like that neutralizer. That is awesome. So yeah, that is definitely a gift to be able to feel that energy and to know what's appropriate in this setting is truly a gift.
Thank you. Yeah, it's taken time, right? I've kind of always thought, we should just be calm and it's okay. But honestly, through teaching and then, now cultivating the new company and going into people's homes, and they have such personality, embracing that and, hey, this is who you are. Let's embrace it. Let's, not be so hard on ourselves. And it just, especially with women, because I have a lot of conversation with women about their homes, and they really beat themselves up sometimes. It needs to be perfect. No, let's embrace you. Like we have our little nuances, so enjoy them.
Love that. Because my home is not perfect. Thank you for making me feel better about that.
honestly, there is no such thing as
Yes.
perfect. Like
Perfect,
perfect
no.
doesn't exist. And I think, historically, I've spent too much of my life like not moving forward because it wasn't perfect enough, so I can't do this. And
Yeah.
thank God I'm not there anymore, or Allison, we wouldn't be doing this podcast right now, because no, I'm not ready yet, because things aren't perfect. We don't know how to do this perfectly. And
Yeah.
it does paralyze a lot of us. So knowing that perfection, it doesn't actually exist. So let it go and just move forward.
One of the best phrases I've heard from a coach of mine is taking imperfect action. Just take the action and do it, and you'll get there. You'll never be perfect, but if you don't, you're right, Julietta. I used to be the same way, super type A. We would have never completed this. I would have gotten over being perfect.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Next question is, what is a book that has greatly influenced your life?
Well, back in graduate school, I had just started. I moved from South Carolina to Arizona. And, when you move as an individual, you really learn a lot about yourself. And was feeling a little blue, a little down, didn't have many friends, but I had developed really good friendships with my cohort. And one of my very best friends now, she gave me this book called The Secret, right? And it sort of, it's not a secret. The book isn't a secret, but it started me in this path of, always think positive, that there's this mirror that sits in front of you, and what you put out is going to, that energy is going to reflect back onto you. And I know this isn't, the first book of its kind, that there are many before and many after, but this was really kind of the starting point for me to join that journey of, really radiating what I want and why I want it and how I want it, and, allowing it to come back, and giving too at the same time. The book didn't talk just about as an individual. When you do those things, it radiates and reflects onto other people as well. And, your vibe is your tribe, right? Or, that sort of thing. So
yeah. I love that.
So yeah, The Secret.
I love that you bring up that book, because, as someone who's been in that spiritual metaphysical world for many, many, many years, I remember when that book came out, and a lot of people in that community criticized the book, saying it was too simple and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I'm like, I love that it's simple, and it's, it's an access point for people that normally wouldn't get into this. It's an access point to just to start waking up the people that are not awake yet. So it's like the gateway book.
Really, really, my husband and I were having a conversation about it, and I said, I know there were so many things before and so many things after, and it's very simple, but it's accessible. Right? It's not put in this place of super metaphorical, I have to, really connect spiritually. It's, a little more factual. It feels like a little more tangible. So I agree.
Yeah, I think it's very user friendly in a way to put it. Technology words, it's super user friendly, because I think that's actually one of the first books I probably read in that whole direction, probably 15 or 20 years ago. I don't know, when it first came out, it was like a big deal and all the controversy and everything. But it is a phenomenal, and I love how you said we have to think of it as a mirror in front of us, because Julietta and I have this conversation. I'll point to her that way because she's over here for me right now. Julietta and I always have this conversation about, not only what you put out there is what you get back. Like, we all obviously agree with that, but it's also what you see in other people is what you're reflecting. Julietta and I talk about that a lot of the time, like maybe something that you see in someone else that you don't like. Well, it's probably because you're a little bit that way, or vice versa. The things that are great that you see in other people are because that's how you are also. So I think it's so incredible, that whole world of energy. And Julietta's up here when up here when it comes to energy, and I'm down here. So I just think it's so phenomenal and such an amazing thing. And I think for any of you listening right now, if you you've never been in that whole world and that whole idea of, the universe and energy and everything that comes back to us. The Secret is an amazing place to start. So thank you for suggesting that book. It's a great book.
Yeah, thanks.
Love it. And the other great thing about it too is that they also made it into a movie. So like for people who don't even like reading, they could watch the movie. It's like perfect.
And I think it's on, I actually started watching it again recently because I'm like, I need to watch this again. I think it's on Netflix. And the interesting thing about it is the people that are in it are like really well-known people, even to this day. Is like, I can't think of specific people right now, but I remember watching it going, that person was in this movie? Holy cow. Like, it's really good. Yeah. It's a good place.
Yay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Next question is, what is your favorite self-care practice? And I'm feeling really psychic right now. I kind of suspect she might be talking about something that starts with the letter Y.
Y-O-G-A. I had to think about that for a second. Yes, I do the yoga.
The yoga. I love that.
I do the yoga, and I also talk to my mommy. I still call her mommy. Yes, I do. Almost every day. We check in and we talk about big things. We talk about small things. This really developed after I had my daughter. She lives in South Carolina, and I'm here in Florida. And she couldn't be here all the time, but that phone call really grounded me. Every day kind of brought me back to my roots, understanding, that the world can be really big, but it can also be our own little world too. I think yoga does that for me as well. So I try to practice that in the morning time, try to get that in. Sometimes Scarlett, my daughter, comes running in and I'm downward dogging and she's on my back and the dogs come and lick my face and the husband walks by, all that good stuff. But that's something that I really try to strive for. It's not every day, and that's okay. I embrace it, but I always try to go back to it at least 5 times a week is my ideal goal. But yes, the mind-body connection is crucial for my health, for my being, the way I walk through the space and know it and see it and believe it. So yeah, that's what I do. I talk to my mommy and I do yoga.
I love that you talk to your mother every day. I think that is so, and what I love best about what you said is it helps keep you grounded. When I first moved to Florida 28 years ago, we were a young couple just married. I did used to talk to my mom every single day, and then kids and I don't know, just whatever, my stubbornness, because now I think I know better, which is true. But I have gone back to talking to my mom a lot more frequently now that she's living in Texas. But I love that. I love that you do that. I think that's phenomenal. Actually, my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law, the two of them talk every single day. And I think that's such a really great thing. And I'm sure Julietta would feel the same way to talk to mom.
Well, I can still talk to her.
You do still talk to her, I know.
Not on the phone, and no, I do feel her presence all the time. So, but one thing that I really like that you brought up was like staying present in your world. And, people freak out when I tell them that I don't watch the news. Like, how do you know what's going on in the world? I'm like, it's impossible to not know what's going on in the world. But like, when, so my ex-husband used to be like addicted to the news, and when we have, I don't even know what's out there anymore because I don't have cable TV, but there's like CNN and Fox and MS, like all these news stations, and people will sit there and watch them 24/7. And like, it takes them out of like being present in their world and their moment. And like, you're out there and like, all it does is like make you crazy and make you angry. And I'm like, if you just, like, be in your world. What's the news happening in your world, in your moment? And the world's a better place when you can focus on the space that's immediately around you and be the best you that you can be in that space. Because the world's going to keep happening out there no matter, where you're at and what's going on in your world. And, even think about, like, for me, and I've said this a lot of times, like, 2020 and now into 2021, like with COVID going on around us, like it's crazy what's out there. It's sad. It's devastating to some people, but I'm staying present in my world and making my space the best space that I can have it. And I'm having an amazing life right now. There's so much good stuff happening in my world. And, and I'm working on helping everybody else see that their world is still amazing and wonderful and can be everything they want it to be. So that's what I loved about what you brought up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it kind of goes back to circling to the secret in that mirror. If you allow all those other things to cripple you, you're going to stay there. You have to, have your own bubble. Be aware, obviously, and be kind and be conscious, but you don't have to allow it to creep in. A friend of mine was telling me about, she goes and she purchases crystals from a woman who owns a crystal store. Not me, the actual stone. And thought about that as I was saying that. Anyways, and so, she asked her, people must come in and they must always just dump all kinds of stuff onto you. And how do you, deal with that? And the owner of the store said, well, really, my crystals give me this bubble. And when they come in, I listen to them, right? And I'm doing this sort of round thing. I listen to them, but I don't allow them in. I'm there, I'm present with them, and I help them, but it doesn't have to be absorbed into who I am on a daily basis. So I think that's also a new lesson for me that I'm doing, just kind of really making sure that I am present and I'm aware, but keeping that space sacred, because I'm the only one that can live with me on a daily basis. And if I let all those negative things happen, then I won't be successful.
And I think too, listening to both of what you guys were saying, I find that, like Julietta brought up, over the last year, a lot of people have really struggled and had I think a lot of people are having a difficult time finding the positive and the good. But I, with the help of Julietta and some other amazing women in my life, have been really focusing on the good and putting out the good energy. And what's incredible to me is when you stay present in your world, when the bad things start happening, because listen, things are going to happen. Absolutely. It is reality.
Right.
But I am finding my ability to handle them is so much better than it would have been even 2 years ago, because I have a better perspective on it. And I'm not and I think mentally and energetically, my body can handle the stresses because I'm not overloading myself anymore on all this outside negativity. Honestly, I think that's a huge part of it. And Julietta knows, I think she and I've talked about this, but let me preface this by saying I know I should not have these in my house, but I have an Amazon Alexa, the show. And every morning when I'm emptying the dishwasher, I get my little news clips. It's like a 10-minute news briefing, and it helps me. For me, it keeps me aware, and that's all I need. That's enough for me. And then I'm done and I go about my day. But I don't watch the news, but I have my mom, and I understand she's older too. She keeps the news. I think Fox or CNN, one of them is on all day on her TV, all the time. And how can you not but feel bad after that? Like, I would feel terrible if I watched all that all day long. So anyways, but I think it's so
energy being blasted at you all day long.
I know. So I appreciate you bringing up that staying present. And I really think it does. And I know it sounds so like woo-y for those that are out there but truly, when you are more focused on the positive and what is right in front of you, you are so much better able to handle when the bad things come. I think you just mentally and physically can deal with it better. So thank you for bringing that up.
No, thank you. That was well said, Allison. Thank you.
All right. You ready for the last question?
Yes, let's do this.
How do you create accountability in your life?
Okay, so I have always been a self-motivator, a self-go-getter. I know that's super cheesy. It really comes down to just me. I know that things will get done. I know that I will make it happen. You know, if you've ever been around me, I'll say, you know, teamwork makes the dream work, but I'll make it happen, Captain. You know, I have all these like fun little sayings that I do. So also the sense of accountability is, you know, at the end of the day, we're home in our little environment, and we can go to sleep, and we feel, you know, that we can get up the next day and accomplish more. So I try not to think of too big at a time, because if I do, then I'll go a little cuckoo crazy. Mm-hmm. So shrinking them down, just knowing I have big goals, but I sit and I write, and I'll put a little time frame like interview, podcast, 10 to 11, you know, and then, right. Like, and then I can check those things off, and sometimes they don't get checked off, and I'm okay with that. I know that I will accomplish those things because of the things I've done in my life prior to. So accountability really happens when it needs to, at the time that I make it happen, Captain.
I think that's great. I mean, listen, we've interviewed 15 women now, I think, something like that. And what's interesting to me is I can see how I think personality and life experiences probably has a lot to do with the answer to that question. Because you and the last person we interviewed both kind of said, you know, my accountability rests on me. It's about me doing what I say that I'm going to do, and, you know, holding that value to myself. Whereas other people, and Julietta became my accountability. When we went into this pandemic, I think we weren't in it for more than a couple of weeks, and I called her up and I'm like, okay, I need your help. Like, I need someone that I can talk to every week, sounding board, that I can get through this, whatever we are going through right now. Cause it was a little freaky at first, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think everybody's so different in that regard. And I think also as time goes on and life experience you go through, maybe age, maybe not so much age, but maybe life experiences. And I hate saying that word maturity, but I think we get to a point where we do become just more accountable on our own, and we don't necessarily need all those other things to hold us accountable. But I also think it's seasons in life too, and maybe what you're doing. Because like this podcast that we're doing, we've talked about this. If Juliet and I didn't have each other, I'm not sure this would have happened as quickly or happened, because we really worked off of each other together to get it done. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you said it really nicely in the sense of seasons, right? You know, yes, I'm accountable for myself, but there's times that I need my husband, who's my best friend, and listen, hey, I need you to help me, you know, let's talk through our businesses. I mean, that's one thing that we also do almost on a daily basis. You know, he has his company and I have mine, but we have them together. So, you know, there's moments where we connect, and then we go and we accomplish, or we do, you know, this or that. So maybe, you know, because you have your own little moment there, Missy, with your own interviewing podcast stuff for your wellness, and you're doing, you know, and maybe you and Julietta do have that conversation often about it, but you're your own little wellness warrior, you know.
I'm just going to summarize all of that in, if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yep.
That's it. I'm taking it. Feeling
it. Yep. Between easy peasy lemon squeezy, make it happen, Captain. What else?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream. Awesome. All right.
We're all full of rhyming. So takeaways for today. I'll go first this time since I've been legging before, but I loved when we were talking about the secret and the simplicity of it, and like keeping things keep it simple, stupid. Like, that's my takeaway for today. So often, like, we just overcomplicate everything, and you know, the simpler you can make it, there's beauty in simplicity. So that's my lesson for today. Simplicity. How about you, Allison?
I would say I'm a very visual person. So I love how Crystal said the mirroring, back at you. That is such a great visual for me to move forward with every day, to remember that what I put out there, there's a mirror right there. It's coming right back to me, and will definitely make me think a little bit more sometimes before I say things necessarily, hopefully. But definitely about what I'm putting out there and what I'm giving to the world and my own small little world here, and everybody that we reach through this podcast. So I think that whole mirror visualization is awesome. So thank you, Crystal.
What's your takeaway, Crystal?
My takeaway is just kind of what you said, that simplicity, being thankful that I can be here and have this conversation with the two of you. You guys have such great souls, and just to connect with my tribe a little bit more. And just I really am very thankful and appreciative of this time. So that's the biggest takeaway. I know we talked about a lot, but just thankful.
I just want to add in one more thing before we wrap it up, because I know we're on the tail end, but I just want to thank you, Crystal, for coming in here and doing this interview with us, because Crystal and I, like we said, met, we think we figured it out, it was 7 years ago. Lexi wasn't driving yet, so probably 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago. And really grateful to have her in my life, and at that time to have her as part of my world, not only for myself but for my daughter, because to this day Lexi loves you. Like, there are a few dance teachers that she just goes head over heels for, and you happen to be one of them, which I totally understand. But what I love about Crystal is that she kind of went a different direction. She has a beautiful little girl now, total blondie like mine. I love it. And she's doing this whole new thing with design. But what I love about what you're doing, Crystal, is you were so good at what you did with dance, with choreography, and that whole feel and energy in a room, and how to make things work together. And I love how you're taking that amazing skill and putting it into helping people make their homes feel good and have good energy and represent themselves. I love how you've done that, and I just want to give you kudos for that, because I think it's incredible, and I'm so happy that we've reconnected, and I know that we will continue to stay in touch and do wonderful things going forward. So thank you very much, and make sure I will put the link to your website in the comments so that people can go check out your stuff.
Livin The Design. I'm also on the Insta and the Facebook, trying to get on the Twitter and the LinkedIn. Oh, I'm on Pinterest too.
Is it always under Livin The Design? Is it livinthedesign.com?
The website, yes, livinthedesign.com. Mm-hmm. And then you can find, just if you do Crystal Patient or Livin The Design with Facebook, Instagram, you should be able to find me.
Okay. Got it. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you so much, Crystal, for joining us today. Thank you for all the listeners who are listening to us live, and those that are listening to us in the future. We're time traveling, and all of the information that we've talked about will be available in the show notes or comments. So if we spoke about anything today, you can find the resources to locate that information there. Also, you'll find our contact information if you want to get in touch with us. If you liked our show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, our podcast, share it with your friends. And I think that's it. So have a magical day, everyone. Thank you, ladies. So much fun chatting with you.
Bye, guys.